Assalamu alaikum. This is Ishan Isaac with Ishan on air every Sunday 6 p.m. and onward on the legacy media as well as with social media. I welcome all of you, and we're live with Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and without further ado, I would like to make sure that we are um, doing this with all these social media platforms. Today we have a lot to cover, and I'm starting first with this news where U.S. has launched fresh attacks on Iran. Now, many people would be thinking, "What's going on?" Well, this is the chaotic international affairs that we're dealing with, and many aspects of the world as we see today, as many people are noticing. I hope I'm not the only one, that there's a lot of chaos and there's a lot of instability, and things are not as they used to be. If you compare this, perhaps a year ago or 2 years ago or 4 or 5 or 10 years ago. And sometimes it happens because of the modern age. Sometimes it happens because of economic reasons, political reasons, as well as the business cycles as well. And sometimes there are various types of disruptors that impact society in different ways. However, the memorandum of understanding did happen. President Trump signed it, and obviously Iran, their representatives, they signed it. And here we are. And we will continue to talk a little bit more about it. But another key news is also discrepancy on Iran's use of unfrozen funds. That's where President Trump said it, and VP JD Vance said it, where they said that their financial assets will be unfrozen. However, they would be used to buy American grown corn, wheat, and soybeans as well. So that would help the US farmers here, but at the same time, it will help people who need food in Iran. Iran's president went to Islamabad. There's one news about Islamabad as well, where they literally put this woman who is a human rights activist and a Pakistani rights activist, especially in this province, Balochistan. They've been fighting for their rights for decades now, and there is an insurgency as well. And the youth is disenfranchised, and at the same time, not feeling that they belong to the province of Balochistan. Why is that? And this is going to be a long topic. I don't want to discuss it here. There are a lot of discriminatory racism and many aspects of insecurities from the state, as well as insecurities developed within people. And then the reality where if you do not have jobs, if you see that the haves nots and the those haves, so people who are who belong to the haves category and those who belong to the have nots category, or the rich or the poor, that divide is increasing, and there's no middle class, or it's shrinking. So what is happening? Where the economy and all this money and all these loans and grants and what have you, and where is that money going? So the very deep topics, but it's very simple as well. So when you don't have jobs, unemployment and youth unemployment, then these type of things happen. And then when there's racism and discrimination, that's literally putting fuel to the fire. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. And this is where this woman has been covered in all international news. And there's no conspiracy against Pakistan. The state of Pakistan and those who represent Pakistan and those who call themselves that they belong to Pakistan, if they are Pakistanis or if they are from Pakistani origin, or those who meet with the politicians of Pakistan, they need to ask these questions, that why is that happening? Or you're just going to look the other way. So that's basically the bottom line. UN agency pauses evacuation of ships through the Strait of Hormuz after attack on vessel, AP Associated Press has reported it. And Trump again threatens Iran with annihilation as Kuwait and Bahrain report attacks. And President Donald Trump says the US may be forced to, quote, militarily complete the job that we very successfully started, unquote. Adding that, quote, Iran will no longer exist, unquote, if that happens. And the US launched strikes on Iranian targets in retaliation for an attack on an oil tanker, according to an online statement from the US Central Command, CENTCOM, and the attacks were the latest escalation of tensions between the two countries, following an interim agreement meant to bring an end to hostilities in the region. This is where the US Sent Command, as those who are watching me live on social media can see the unclassified footage from the drones where the US Navy and Air Force fighter jets conducted strikes that night on 10 Iranian military targets at multiple locations in and near the Strait of Hormuz for Iran's drone attack on M/T, this tanker Kiku, whatever that name is, or that area. Uh, and Kuwait and Bahrain are under attack, and Kuwait's army said its air defenses were, quote, confronting hostile missile and drone attacks, unquote. Bahrain's Ministry of Foreign Affairs condemned, quote, the renewed Iranian aggression against its territory, targeting it again with a number of ballistic missiles and drones in a dangerous escalation. Those who may not know, uh, all of these countries that I mentioned and others, they have US air bases. And that's what Iran does, that whenever they're attacked, then they start attacking US assets in the region. The United Arab Emirates and Qatar, which have both been repeatedly struck by Iranian projectiles, condemn Iran's attacks on Bahrain and Kuwait, describing them as violations of those countries' sovereignty and international law. Saudi Arabia also denounced Iran's attacks, quote, as well as against the security and freedom of navigation in the Strait of Hormuz, unquote. So you can see the pattern here, right? They'll get attacked, they will condemn it, and the life goes on, and then something else happens, and then attack. So this is the chaos that people are witnessing, and because of that, a lot of people are getting rich in the process. International benchmark Brent crude futures for August settled down 4.34% at 71.99 barrel. Prices of oil went up again with the latest attacks, but they were coming down because of the memorandum of understanding (MOU) that basically was signed between the U.S. and Iran. And then the U.S. West Texas intermediate futures for August declined 3.74% to end at 69.23 a barrel. The last time WTI futures closed below 70 was on February 27th, because on February 28th, that's when President Trump put that 7 or 8 minute video on Truth Social on social media, and Iran was attacked this year. It was attacked last year as well. So we got to keep these things in context. Otherwise, things will continue to happen, and then after a few months, we won't even know how we end up in this quagmire. Escalation amid negotiation. Well, this is another thing that is happening. I don't know what to say. This is the new normal. Is it? That's what they were saying about COVID. It's a new normal. What does that mean? I mean, something that is not normal and you call it a new normal, that is not normal at all. And that's just me. I just said that. Frustration grows in Venezuela as earthquake death toll reaches 1430. Our thoughts and prayers are with the families and all those who have lost their lives. And Associated Press has reported, and they're still trying to recover a lot of bodies under the rubble, even newborn babies. Very sad and tragic in terms of the nature and how that earthquake caused a lot of devastation in Venezuela. AP News again reported dispute over nuclear inspections clouds US-Iran teams work to finalize a war-ending deal, and then here are the attacks. So every second, every minute, things are changing so fast that it's in fact very difficult to keep up with the news. So that's why I'm setting the context as we speak as well, so we recognize what's the story behind the news story. The International Atomic Energy, IAEA, that agency, they are also receiving requests, and then they're also receiving requests to comment over its possible role. It has been in and out of Iran since Israel's 12-day war in 2025, but has not been granted access to bombed, enrichment sites targeted by the US. And this is where Iran, if you ask them, and sometimes it gets reported, they say, no, we have told them. So now who do you believe? So you have to think from your own mind, if we can use our own mind, or those who are independent thinkers, or those who know how to use brain cells. Trump administration moves to increase the price tag for seeking US citizenship. So this is where obviously it has been historically low, but now it has gone up 75%, and then for online 80% in terms of price tag. And this is where now the N400, if you become a US naturalized citizen, it has gone up from $760 to $1,330. And if you submit the same form online, it would increase by 80% from 710 to $1280. Now, what's the big deal? As an American, we should say that, yeah, there should not be a big deal. And some people say that it's a very small price to pay. But here is the other point of view. Quote, for generations, the US government deliberately kept citizenship application fees low in an effort to encourage the millions of people with green cards to apply, unquote. Aaron Recklin Melnick, a senior fellow at the American Immigration Council, said in a post on X on Monday, quote, he further said, no longer, unquote. And here's Politico reported Judge vacates Trump policy allowing arrests at immigration court. So no longer the arrest will be made, because before people were showing up for their deportation hearings and they were actually getting apprehended or getting arrested by ICE. And the Supreme Court is about to decide 4 cases defining Trump's power. So this is where some of the key ruling in terms of firing a governor for the Federal Reserve, ending birthright citizenship or redefining birthright citizenship. Those are the 2 cases. And then there are more in terms of strict protections from hundreds of thousands of immigrants. And we already know people from Haiti and people from Syria, the temporary protected status, TPS, they no longer have that. So they have to return back to their countries. That was the temporary protected status. So the ruling has occurred by the courts on that. And then obviously independent agencies oversight or the consolidation of power from the executive branch, that can the president actually fire these heads of independent agencies, where they should not be under any kind of political influence, as we see in third world countries or in developing countries. So these are the 4 issues, and let's see how these 4 cases turn on different legal issues. Together, they will send a strong signal about how far the court's conservative majority is willing to let Trump go, legal experts say. So we'll keep an eye in the coming weeks and months, because summer is upon us. The Hill has reported Senate overwhelmingly passes sweeping bipartisan housing affordability bill. So that's good news, because housing market is a mess, as it has been quoted here. And then we've got a generational affordability crisis around housing in this country. And so I'm glad that we are able to get this done on a bipartisan basis. But I hope that this is the beginning and not the beginning. I think when we are in charge, you're going to see us do more, unquote, quote unquote. He said that was Senator Raphael Warnock. He's a Democrat from Georgia, echoed that sentiment. And Senate Republicans had attempted to include an all-out ban on companies buying single-family homes, in line with the executive order Trump issued in January. Republicans in the House fought to soften the language. So let's see. And the final bill landed on a middle ground, restricting companies who already own more than 350 single-family homes from purchasing more. So now the companies can own up to 350 single-family homes, but they cannot own more. So that's basically the compromise that they have reached. And some more information and news with regards to this situation that has developed in Pakistan, because Pakistan has been in limelight. And I've been very balanced, but also very critical in terms of a very fundamental thing, that if your home is in chaos, if you have issues within your own home, how can you go and help neighbors? Maybe some may argue, yes, you can, but it's very hypocritical that you would root for peace all over the world. However, in your own home, there's no peace. So it's very simple. It transcends all cultures, faiths, and the human understanding of how conflicts should be resolved. So you gotta have peace at home. Then you can think about abroad or international affairs. But that's where dirty politics come into the picture, because like I said previously, Trump administration wanted this puppet or stooge government where a comma or a period cannot be changed without the blessings of the Trump administration. That's exactly what Pakistan has been doing. That's why Iran, they've been stuck. That's one point of view. The other point of view, oh, Pakistan has been doing great. You want to live in that la la land, by all means. But always keep in mind that the intellectual people and those who look at the international affairs, they can see this through. So the leading Pakistan activist, BBC, Guardian, everyone has reported, all major news outlets. Leading Pakistan activists giving life sentence over soldiers killing at a rally. Now, who killed that soldier? Obviously, it's sad when soldiers get killed, but soldiers, unfortunately, when they sign up, they actually obviously are in the business of very risky life. And there's nothing to justify any killing, including soldiers killing. But at the end of the day, there has to be an investigation that who actually killed that soldier. But instead of that, she has been given a life sentence. She is in her 30s. She is actually a physician, a doctor, and she has been very vocal about the disappearances of people and many youth, Baloch, and those who are in Balochistan, one of the very big province in terms of the size, and the population is very small, but it's full of all these minerals and even gas, and some say there's oil, we don't know, but it's very close to Iran, so there could be oil, who knows. But because of the corruption, they don't even dig. And even sometimes they dig, who knows what's going on there. But one thing is very common, and that is where that this province has been under a lot of security situation for decades. That's how I would put it. But why do you want to put the security aspect into this? Why there is not going to be a political and economic solution? Because that's where corruption comes into the picture. So this woman has been a thorn in the eyes of those who consider themselves powerful, although if they were really powerful, I mean, they would not be afraid of this woman, but it seems like they are. And that's where the Guardian, in fact, reported this: my year in solitary confinement has not broken me. My peaceful fight for Baloch rights in Pakistan goes on. And this is where people do not recognize, understand that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And this Pakistani rights activist, Mahrang Baloch, sentenced to life in prison. And it's very, very sad situation where so many Dr. Mahrangs Baloch have been in prison, not only in Balochistan, but also even in other provinces. Whoever would raise voice for the people, that is the pattern. And this is where even Greta, the well-known activist, she even condemned her life sentence, and even raising voice for her internationally. So Dr. Mahrang Baloch and few other activists to life imprisonment, and she is talking about that. Obviously, I'm going to read this from the chief minister, or the equivalent of our governor here in the state. So the one in charge in that province has said, quote, "Those who take the law into their own hands under the guise of peaceful protest, promote violence, and target state officials are in fact facilitators of terrorism," unquote. Bukti said, he is the chief minister. And the anti-terrorism court said that it found Baloch and Sibghatullah, another person, guilty of murder and terrorism related offenses. Remember, terrorism, the T word, right? So anyone can be put into that category if you live in a country like this one. So this is where, unfortunately, their committee, or the leading committee that she was leading, BYC, that's the name of the political committee, I would say. And one of the organizers of BYC, they said Lala Abdul Baloch called it, quote, "faceless," unquote, trial, and warned more Baloch youth would likely choose resistance. Quote, "When you close access to the corridors of justice, and then more people will rise up against the state," unquote, he said, adding the group has called a province-wide strike to protest the court's decision. And you cannot actually, like Greta said, imprison or put truth in prison. And we know this as well, especially those who follow news and try to be very objective and try to be on the side of humanity. The ex-Prime Minister of Pakistan continues to be in jail, and he is also facing some terrorism charges. So if the former Prime Minister can face terrorism charges, Dr. Mahrang Baloch obviously was not holding any official position. So if the if the Prime Minister, head of the state, right, the former head of the state, can face a charge about terrorism, then go figure, right? So that's how people on Main Street, that's why they lose hope with politics, but only lose hope in politics in developing countries or in countries where they don't have democracy. We do have democracy in this country as we speak, although we have to fight for our rights even in a democratic society or in a republic. Now, this poll has happened in 36 countries where approve of Trump's handling of international issues, where international humanitarian aid disapprove 56%, approve 36%, US immigration policies 65% disapproval, 28% approve, and in Venezuela 63% disapproval, 22% approve. Conflict between Russia and not in Venezuela, but on the issue of Venezuela, and the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, 72% disapprove, 20% approve. And then on Iran, conflict in Gaza, tariffs, Greenland, it's all below 20% or 18 and 14%. And this is where you can see views of the US around the world, and Hungary, Poland, UK, Greece, even Pakistan, the public, people. It's always the people, it's always about the people. They do not like it, and they do not like what the government is saying. But if they are going to raise the voice like Dr. Maharang Baloch, even on this topic, they will face some issues or cases or cooked up charges against them. So that's why freedom of speech and expression and our First Amendment right is so important, and we should not take these rights for granted, even the Second Amendment. And decreasing share, the US, as you can see, all these different polling, Pew Research Center, and more on all around the world. And there are 7 nations in the study where a majority of adults rate the US positively. The highest rating, 81% favorably, comes from Israel. Exactly, right? I mean, obviously, because if someone is an Israeli and someone is an American, they're going to be on 2 different ends right now, because all the policies are in favor of Israel. And as an American, or as America First, those who voted with that sentiment, they are not going to be in this 81% favorable polling, regardless of how anyone would spin that, because data speaks truthfully. And this is Pew Research Center. So that's the bottom line. And some of the lowest ratings are from predominantly Muslim publics, such as Malaysians, Pakistanis, Turks, and Palestinians in the West Bank and East Jerusalem. And this is not a Muslim or a non-Muslim issue, or a West or a East issue. It's a humanitarian issue. It's a humanity issue. So politicians want to spin this, and they will always divide and conquer based on these groupings or categories. But those who are smart, they're not going to fall for that. We were unable to survey in Gaza, obviously. Trump gets mostly poor marks for his handling of key foreign policy issues, including tariffs, Gaza, Iran, Greenland, and the Russia-Ukraine war. And that's where, if elections happen today, we know what will be the result. Elections are not today. It's not going to be tomorrow. There's still a few months, and we don't know what's going to happen in the next few months. So that's why stay positive, stay optimistic. But politics is something that a lot of people, they do not have faith in politics because of the crook politicians. Are very few, maybe 0.001% politicians who are trying to do the right thing. But majority of them, we know, are corrupt all over the world. So here is, at the end of the day, we would like to thank our key advertisers. Because of them, we are able to promote objective news, balanced news, and factual news and truthful news. Affordable Insurance of Texas, our great advertiser sponsor. If you are looking for auto insurance, call them. If you're looking for commercial insurance, business insurance, health insurance, and if you do not have homeowners insurance, or if you do have homeowners insurance, call them. You can bundle homeowners insurance with the auto insurance, so that way you can save even more. So take advantage of lower premiums. And the only way you can do that is by calling 737-885-4000. They've been in business for decades, 30 years, with credibility, honesty, and they will help you. So tell them Zishan has sent you, mention Zishan on air. And if you're on the web, you can get all the information from www.aitinsurance.com, or you can just pick up the phone and call them 737-885-4000. That's 713-785-4000. Affordable Insurance of Texas. Internet, their address is aitinsurance.com. Affordable Insurance of Texas, 737-885-4000. I would also like to thank and mention our great advisor sponsor, Roop Saudi Palace, roopsaudi.com. You can go online, you can schedule a virtual video tour by calling 832-267-0065, 832-267-0065. Their phone number is this 832-267-0065. Call them to schedule virtual video tour. They have new shipments that have arrived. You have men sherwanis and all these kurtas and shalwar kameez, and for women all these traditional dresses, gowns, and saris, and different types of dresses, both formal, evening wear, and even non-formal, everyday wear. You can call them or just go to Hillcroft if you're in Houston, Greater Houston area. That's Roop Saudi Palace, 1,000 square footage. They have 1,000 square footage, and under that one roof, you will see a huge showroom for women, and they have a separate showroom for men. Roop Saudi Palace, and for men, women, for brides, for grooms, for children of all age groups, Roop Saudi Palace. And new shipments have arrived, and go and take advantage of that. And also, I would like to thank Shehnai Texas. Shehnai Texas is one of our advertiser as well, and their number is 739531388. One of our great advertiser, 739531388. And they have all you can eat buffet Monday to Friday, vegetarian $12.99, non-veg $14.99, takeout buffet $7.99. And they have Muharram special. It's a huge list. It starts from $4.99, $5.99, and $6.99 onwards. Party tray starts from $70, $69.99, $79.99, $89.99, and $100 for 50 to 100 and 100 to 150 people. I obviously would highly recommend you go and take advantage of that. Mention Zishan on air, and go and take advantage of this. And at the same time, you can also take advantage of this offer, which is a burger, but it's called in traditional Urdu or Hindi ban kebab, Karachi ban kebab. And you can enjoy ban kebab, fries, and soda for $9.99 plus tax. You will have fries, soda, and this burger or ban kebab. So that's also a Shehnai Restaurant Catering. And then you can also take advantage of their lunch buffet. And that lunch buffet is also something that you can take advantage. And I would highly recommend you to go and take advantage of their lunch buffet. And that is also 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. lunch buffet only for only $10.99. That's at 5920D Hillcroft, 5920D as Delta Hillcroft. Their phone number 739531388. 739531388. That's Shehnai Restaurant and Catering. And for catering and for party trays and for all specials, mention my name and take advantage of it. Now we'll continue with the Legacy Media. And again, thanks for joining me. And if you have not subscribed my YouTube channel, please do. Thanks.
Texas.